Your father's a smart man because all you have to do, and I believe this in not just sports, in anything that you do, you want to go out there and do the best at your ability. If you don't go out there and put your best out there, well, it's just like me. I'm in a couple of weeks, I'm going to be sitting down with WFAN. I don't know if you know who the fan is. They're the godfather of sports radio here in New York. Okay. I'm going to go sit down with executives and pitch my show to WFAN. Now, how am I going to do that? Now, I'm walking in. They don't even know who the hell I am. And if they do know who I am, they don't give a crap who I am. Okay. I got to go out there and I got to sell them who I am as a personality. And I can't hold back on what I say or how I say it. I got to be there and show them that I'm confident about myself, not an ego, but a person that knows that he can do this job as good as anybody else. So when you go out there on a football field, you're going to go out there and say, I'm a good defensive tackle. I'm not a great defensive tackle. So you gave me a scholarship. I'm going to get my scholarship. I'll run with that and I'm done. You're not going to do that. You know what you're going to do? You're going to beat the hell out of people on the field. You're going to show Brian Kelly why he gave you that full scholarship. And then you're going to tell the NFL teams and all those first-round teams saying, you know what, I'm a first-round draft pick and kiss my ass and draft me. That's what you're going to do. That's how every single thing I've ever done in my life, I put it 110%. And if you put it 110%, at least if you failed, you say to everybody that you gave it 110%.
Absolutely. That's the goal.
No, and you will. You will. If you want it bad enough, Gabe, you'll get there, bud. I absolutely believe that. I've talked to all you recruits. And if you're a 4-star recruit, and I don't care what you are, 4-star, 1-star, 2-star, 3-star, 8-star, it doesn't matter what kind of recruit you are. If you go out there and you prove yourself, it doesn't matter where they rate you. You're going to put yourself on that table when people are saying, well, what am I looking for in the draft? Am I looking for a guy that was coming out of high school? He was a 4-star recruit, or I'm going to go after a guy that was a 2-star, 1-star, or no-star recruit who had 15, 16 sacks in his senior year. Okay. So I'm going after the recruit that had 15, 16 sacks, not the guy that came out of high school when everybody said he was a 5-star recruit. Right or wrong?
Right.
So there you go. That's my answer to that. Next question.
Next question. Do you always rip that hard on James Harden and LeBron James and all them? Or am I just throwing fire or wood onto a fire?
No, you never throw wood on a fire with me, okay? Because I like taking shots at everybody. A matter of fact, before the show started, and I was too busy before Speedy was getting everything ready, I was texting on a phone with one of our old personalities named Tyler James, and I hope he's listening to this because he can kiss my ass. We were talking about Baker Mayfield, okay? And him and Clarence on the Wise Guys, they were tag teaming against me, and I was throwing out numbers to them, and they were telling me that Baker Mayfield is a top 15 quarterback in the league. My answer to that was Baker Mayfield was one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL last year. Tyler James, who I was talking to on a thing, said that he was last year that he was going to be the second best quarterback in the league. And he said Lamar Jackson was going to be the worst quarterback in the league. Lamar Jackson was the MVP of the league, and Baker Mayfield was the worst quarterback in the league last year. And then he tells me he takes shots at the Jets because this is what everybody does, Gabe. Everybody takes shots at the Jets. I'm a Jet fan, and I know they suck, okay? We got King Adam Gase, who doesn't know his ass from his tailbone. He has every time I look at him, you ever see the cuckoo sound? Cuckoo, cuckoo, cuckoo. Yeah. That's what I think of Adam Gase. Every time I look at him, I think he's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, okay? He doesn't know where the hell he is or what he's doing. But everybody takes shots at the Jets, that nobody's going to want the Jets job. You know why? Because they're a losing organization. And my answer to that is they're such a losing organization where they're going to have the number 1 pick in this year's draft, which could add a generational type of talent like Trevor Lawrence, which that is very appeasing to a lot of coaches, getting a quarterback of that skill. They have 9 first 3-round draft picks in the next 2 years, which is the most in the NFL. And they have $98 million to work with in the offseason. Now, out of all the teams, all the bad teams that are going to be looking for coaches, there's going to be probably 8 or 9 of them. Who is more enticing? The Jets, the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Bengals? I mean, come on. I'm going after the team that has so much draft stock, so much money, and could have a generational type of talent. So when people are taking shots at me and you tell me, well, why do you attack James Harden? Why do you take that? James Harden is a baby. He is an absolute baby. Steph Curry is a baby. LeBron James is a baby. These guys have been making millions and millions of dollars a year playing the game that they love, playing the game that they grow up on. But then they like to go out and talk about other people and take shots at other sports and political shots and all this other stuff. Why don't you just play your damn game? Stop pushing yourself away from the team that gave you an opportunity to make all this money and try to push yourself on another team because you're trying to win a championship. You're not going to win a championship because once a loser, always a loser. That's what I say. Now, I'm not saying LeBron James is a loser because obviously he's a proven winner. He's won 4 championships. I would never take a shot at LeBron James' skill. But guys like James Harden, go look at James Harden's numbers in the playoffs. They're not good. They're not good. And all those Steph Curry fans that love him so much, Mr. Three-Point Shot, Steph Curry in the regular seasons, in the last 5 years, average almost 28 points a game. In the playoffs, he averages 4 points, 5 points less in the playoffs. What does that tell you? He is not a clutch player. That's all I'm going to say. When you want to win, if you want to take shots and you want to say, you could say whatever you want about me. You could tell me I'm an ass. You could tell me I'm a whatever. I'm not going to say it on live radio. You could call me whatever you want. But if you're going to call me what you call me, you got to come up with some reasons why. I can come up with many different reasons why I think James Harden's an idiot. Steph Curry is a moron, and even LeBron James, who thinks he's the greatest thing since sliced bread, it will never be as good as Michael Jordan. Okay, so this is who I am, and this is a sports radio show. What do you do on a sports radio show? You're gonna sit here and be boring? Here, I'll be boring for you. You ready? Well, guys, the Yankees are looking to sign DJ LeMahieu, but they're having problems. And I don't know if DJ LeMahieu is interested in going back to the Yankees. Maybe the Blue Jays. I watch so much sports radio, Gabe. I watch a ton of it. And I think sports radio needs to be transitioned into not only an entertainment. Howard Stern has really developed what radio should be as far as entertainment. I'm not talking about sex and screwing around with hookers. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about when you get an athlete on a show, you get a young athlete like you on a show, you want to be remembered with that athlete. You're gonna have so many interviews. You're a great player. You're going to Notre Dame. You're going to interview with a bunch of people. But the one person that when you come on this show, I want you to always remember this show. That when I reach out to you 5 years from now, when you're in the NFL and you're a superstar, or I reach out to you 2 years from now or a year from now, and I say, I want you to come back on my show. You're going to say, absolutely. I love working with you. I love the show. I love listening to your your craziness. That's what I want people to remember. I don't want them to remember me as the plain, boring broadcaster. I want them to remember me as the crazy know-it-all, even though I'm not a know-it-all, by the way. I'm just letting you know that. But I like to have fun, and I am who I am. And I want, just like you, when you go out there, I want you to be the best goddamn player you could be. And that's and what does your father tell you? Your father says, don't leave everything out on the field. Does he not tell you that? If you're going to go on the field, leave every single thing out on the field. Don't leave that field. Give your all on that field, because if you don't, you'll always think of that. You'll always tell yourself, I should have given more in that game. So same thing with radio. It doesn't matter how many minutes, how many hours, and I've been on radio for thousands of hours. I've done over 13,000 episodes, 13,000 shows. Okay, all these years, 8 years of doing radio. And I remember my first episode. Well, why? Because I'm the same damn person I was in the beginning, and I'm the same damn person I am right now. Truth be told.
Awesome.
Gabe, I'll tell you this right now. I want you to come back on the show, and hopefully Speedy will be in the studio. It's not snowing, because I can't stand his mic right now. Just looking at his face. Speedy, when are you getting a haircut? You're terrible, man. You look like a dog.
When I go home.
You're going to go home. Who's cutting your hair? Your brother's going to cut your hair?
My brother is cutting my hair.
Yes. So hold on one second. Gabe, this is what I mean about this kid, okay? And this, before we let you go, this is why it throws me off. I have a tremendous barber out here in New York. Okay, an awesome barber. Give him a nice haircut. Make him look delicious for all the women. Okay, instead of looking like a dog, he looks like a. You ever see Lassie? Okay, that's what he looks like. He looks like Lassie. You know. So I told Speedy, why don't you get a haircut? You know what he tells me? I'm going home and I'm getting a haircut. I said, you have a barber at home? My brother's cutting your hair. Your brother's cutting my hair? So hold on one second. Your brother's cutting your hair. Is he a barber? He says, no, he cuts my mom's hair. So your mother lets your brother cut her hair and he's not even a barber. Come on, man. Would you let somebody who never cut hair before cut your hair?
I mean, I let my dad cut my hair for like 8 years.
Yeah.
He is, you know.
Look at your hair, man. Your hair, all you got to do is shave it off. You can do a crew cut. I mean, that's all you got to do. Look at that thing. Look at that muff on his head. Look at that muff. I mean, it looks like the Shaggy Dog right there. Look at him. He's smiling. He knows it's true. You see that, Gabe? That's the truth, Gabe. You know, this is, listen, I'm not perfect myself, but, you know, I try to trim around. I trim every place on my body. You know, I got to look good I got to look good, you know. I'm just kidding. Anyways, Gabe, tell the fans how they can find you on social media.
So right now, my Twitter and Instagram handle is Gabe Rubio 68 and G Rubio at 68.
Well, Gabe, remember our bet, okay? Your first year, if you play a full-time position, defensive tackle position, I expect four sacks or more. 4 sacks or more in your first season. If you don't play a full season at Notre Dame, you have to wait until your junior year. I expect it your junior year. I want to get you on the show in the beginning of the season next year. I want to know a little bit about what you think about Notre Dame football. I want you to tell me some stories about some of the parties you went to, some of the women you hung out with. You know, this is, you know, I'd like to hear some interesting stories. That's what I like, you know.
You got it. And I can't wait.
Well, I will tell you this. You're a good kid. I'm rooting for you. And I hope that in the near future you get drafted to the New York Jets. Okay, I want you to come to New York. I'll show you around New York, Long Island, and maybe you know, in the future me and you can cut Speedy's hair because it's terrible.
I think I could do a good job.
I think you could too. It's better than his brother. I mean, come on.
Despite having no experience, you know, just go in, do it once over. All right, looks good.
Well, you want to know something? You're the first Notre Dame recruit I've actually interviewed. So I'm going to remember you, and I'm going to be a fan of you, and I'm going to stay in touch with you. We're going to make sure that we're in touch with you. We really appreciate you joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely.
It's a pleasure.
It's a pleasure for us, man. And it was a pleasure for you to ask all those great questions, and I gave you as best of my ability and the answers.
Yeah, that last one wasn't throwing wood on the fire; it was throwing gasoline on the fire.
No, you know, if you want to, yes. I mean, ask Speedy. During the show, I have a little bit of gas. You know, I do. You know, the best thing about my gas is it doesn't smell. So there you go. Ask him. I'm lying. You ask him. I'm not lying. Look at him shake his head. I can do this sometimes. If
he's the only person I've ever met.
I'm the only person that has heavy gas at certain aspects of the day, and it doesn't smell. So I could fart up a storm, and you won't smell it. So that's the best part of it. It just, you know, the only time I don't fart is when I go into a restaurant. I try to hold it in. If I have to, could you imagine me farting up a storm in a restaurant? Come on, man. That would look terrible. I'd look terrible. But you know, when I'm in the studio and I'm sitting here in the studio, oh man, I'll let it go. When we're at break or something like that, I just let it go. Speedy, I could probably do the ABCs in farts. You know, I'm very good at it.
My brother do it.
Well, you know, I'm trying to teach some of you offensive linemen, some of the guys, some of the recruits, the offensive linemen. If you don't like your quarterback, you just, you know, let it go. Just let it go. Yeah. So, anyways, Gabe, thank you for joining us, bud.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.